I'm a little bit like the lightning before the thunder, so it's like getting things going. I like to manifest things. I get excited. I'm curious about the world and about people and about us, these strange human beings.
Hi, I am Sophie and I am an activator of communities for the planet, and with Ma Puce à l'oreille we are trying to share about how to make the world a better place, and we meet awesome change makers to talk about their visions, their dream, and how they manifest it in the world. And today I am with Nichola. Nichola, thank you for accepting my invitation to share about yourself, because that's not always easy. To share about the self and to share about your dreams and your visions, and I think the world needs to know you and to know your gifts and to hear about what you stand for. First, I would like to say that you are a big-hearted and kind woman, caring for your loved one, and especially a wonderful and dedicated mother of 4 beautiful kids, and I am blessed to know you. And so grateful for all the inspiration and the amazing connections you have provided me with. Thank you so much. And I am also amazed by your generosity and your determination in building strong communities. And you have this ability to bring people together, which I think is so awesome. And you create connection and you generate a positive change by connecting all these people. And I'm also very impressed by how you see beauty and grace all around us, all around you. And it reminds me to open my heart to one another and to reconnect to the nature, to the nature's gift. So thank you for all that you bring me. And so yeah, that was my little words for you. And now so it starts raining.
Yes.
So
and we are being blessed by the water.
Yeah.
That's really moving, and it touched my heart.
Because how would you describe yourself? How would you introduce yourself?
Oh my gosh, I'm a possibilitator. That's from some work I did. Wow, just makes me feel like, I'm a little bit like the lightning before the thunder, so it's like getting things going. I like to manifest things. I get excited. I'm curious about the world and about people and about us, these strange human beings, and our curious adventure on this planet and the journey we're all on.
Yeah. So what's your finding about that? What did you find about this curiosity that you explored? What's the most interesting thing you figured out?
Just the beautiful adventure of knowing ourselves. I don't know if it was one Greek philosopher that said "know thyself," but it's truly the most deepest thing we could do is to discover who we are. Those big questions, from the beginning of time, who we are and what are we doing here and how do we make it count. Yeah, it feels cool. We're putting out the fires here. Yeah, we're calling in it's funny because I just did I did a meditation on the rain and putting out the fires in Colorado, even though the Toltecs talk about meeting element with element, so meeting fire with fire, but this sure helps, I think, dampen the ground. And this time of growing in the summer is really important to have the rain.
So what's the teaching you were following with the Toltec? Can you tell me a little more about what were you learning about it?
I learned, I met a lady. Her name is Dominique Isis Rochart, and I met her through my dear friend Cochise Barker, his Tribe of the New Earth, and she was doing a 7-generation meditation evening, like a quick meditation to introduce people to the possibilities of that. And I just felt magnetically led to sit right up front, and I'm like, I'll sign up, I'll be that soldier, you know, I'll do the work. And I felt some release and felt the calling to work with her more directly. And so she does mentorship, passing on the oral tradition of the Toltecs. The Mayans had the prophecy, and the Toltecs bring the tools, the spiritual tools, the practices, the breath work, that working with the elements, to the sun and the moon, and you know, earth, air, fire, and water, and healing, deep healing, and bringing the wisdom through from the ancient civilization of the Toltecs.
Yeah.
So for me, it's exciting, and it's
you have this deep connection with these ancient cultures, especially. So now we're talking about the Toltec, but you also connected to Native American cultures here in North America.
Yeah.
You're like this longing for learning from their wisdom, right?
Yeah, and I think that's that missing piece, the missing link, you know, the attempts to sever us from those ancient wisdom, so that we can live the most vibrant life, is coming back. We're yearning, we're seeking that, and we're coming home to that. So I grew up in England, and you know, the Druid ancestry speaks through me too, and I'm learning through the Obod course, which is the order of bards, ovates, and druids. The bards being the musicians, the poets, the creatives, and then the ovates being the healers, and the druids being the philosophers. So we're all native to somewhere. We all belong, and no matter where we are, we find ourselves in the world. You know, this world, we can tap into that. Everybody can. Everybody that wants to.
How important? Why is it so important to reconnect to this ancestry? These like this lost wisdom, these lost cultures. Why is it so important to you to reconnect to that?
Great question. I think it's like the coming back to what we said earlier about knowing who you are. You know, I feel, you know, many of us feel so lost, and there's no compass, you know, there's no navigation system, but it's all inside. And so these ancient cultures were very rooted in that, and we have access to it now. It's still there. We just have to seek it out and do the practice, and then pass it on to the next generation.
So you feel the responsibility to do that too for the next generations too.
Yeah, very much so. You know, the soothsayers of old, the truth tellers, the wisdom keepers, all resonate with me, and it's a beautiful calling.
And it's also helping us to live in better harmony with the nature, right? Because we kind of have lost that connection with nature. We just see it as a commodity, and we don't really care much for the nature as much as the ancestors used to. So going and getting that knowledge, that ancient knowledge, helps you to find a better way to connect with the nature.
And we forget that we are nature.
We are nature.
You are not separate from it. And I think that relationship, you know, we're starting to build back that relationship between what we see as separate to us is really truly inside of us, and there's respect both ways, and we can honor ourselves as nature, and then, you know, nature reflects that back to us, and the opposite applies. You know, if we don't love ourselves, then we don't love nature, and so that plays out in the world too.
So what do you do for loving more yourself and loving more the nature? Do you have like some practices that you can share about? How do you do to connect to nature and love nature?
Right.
Do you have little rituals?
Yeah, I do. I'm a mother of many, so it's been a practice for me just to do anything for myself, and so this is a learning for me. And, you know, busy is not an excuse, and I always feel energized afterwards. So, you know, greeting of the sun, gratitude is a big thing for me. Even the things that you wouldn't think you would be grateful for, there's learning in those things, and times and issues and lessons to be learned, and to surrender and to welcome the things that come. Grounding myself with the earth.
How do you do that?
So when, for example, when we're sitting on the ground here, take 3 deep breaths to release first physiologically, you know, our jaw where we hold a lot of stress, our shoulders, our neck. I love hearing the birds. That was a dove, I think. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's awesome. So releasing the physical body first with the first breath, with the second breath, releasing the expectations of the day, the worries of the future and the past, and then the third to be present in the moment, to clear the mind, and then to send roots out from the sacral point and your feet. Any point that connects to the earth, you send roots down to the core of the earth, and imagine your roots connecting to the core, crystalline core of the earth. And then you send a golden ray of light spiraling up to connect with source. That's how I begin some of my practices.
Interesting. Now that you talk about rooting yourself to the earth, I guess it's like being more present, being more conscious of and aware of what's around you too, and also about the people that are around you and the community that's around you. And then you might realize that people are living in their own bubbles, and there is not so much community feeling in the world we live in. And so how did you come to wanting to build these communities that you're so good at doing?
Well, that's kind of you. I feel like we're just getting started, but I think I felt it mostly because growing up in a small village in England, there's a closer connection with communal life. And when I moved to the US, I definitely felt the cultural differences, the hero, got to do it by yourself kind of a feeling. And it was felt very isolated, especially raising a family. And so I longed for that, I yearned for that. I wanted to recreate that in my own community and look for ways that I could connect and bring that sense of comfort and belonging. Now so much is online. The Free World Family Telegram group.
Can you tell us what this is?
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of technology, but I think it can be a good tool. And at this point in time, a lot of people are connecting over technology. So the Telegram social media channel, you can create channels of your own and groups of your own. And so we began Free World Family, which is by invitation. And it kind of speaks to, I love that song, that Marmu song, We Shall Be Known by the company we keep. And so the company we keep are these amazing beings on Free World Family. Some of them, not everybody in the world's on it, but it's a start, and it's a way to grow community. And I always say that's like a landing point. It's a place, yes, for sharing of information, but it's the best part of it comes when we get together in person and do community projects.
What kind of projects have you created with this community, and what have you started to do with them?
Well, as I was mentioning earlier about me being the starting point, a lot of times it's I started Free World Family, and then other people, everybody has a skill and a talent, and so people from other groups gravitate towards it, and other groups are connecting with that group, and it's just beautiful because there's a private members association study group that we started. There are plant medicine ceremonialists that offer their services. We're connecting with people that need certain things done, and so people can offer those things. And it's really serving life. It's serving the needs of the people, which is most exciting to me. And this weekend we helped raise a greenhouse for a friend, and you were there, and it was so great, and I was just smiling on the outside, and also my soul was smiling, because that's the life I want to be living every day, doing things together, collaborating.
Yeah, just like people generously come together to help this one person who just wanted to raise a greenhouse, and then just freely and just
and we don't know what comes from that. That's the exciting part, that growing food, nature gives to us freely and abundantly, and that's another beautiful blessing that we can really take to heart, because that's what's on offer if we're just open enough to receive.
Yeah, you can see how generous the nature can be if you are respecting it, and if you are just like working around it, not destroying it.
Yeah.
So what other projects I could think of that you are arranged with the group are like, you talked about the PMA. Can you tell us what is PMA?
Yeah, so over the adventure of the last couple of years, people want to be respected and not be discriminated against for their choice of how they want to live their lives. as long as then you're not hurting anyone, and following the golden rule, right? So I wanted to support local businesses and businesses that were along, doing that, giving people the choice. And so, when I got tired of being discriminated against, I there's always another option, right? So I found Azure Standard and became a volunteer coordinator for them, so that food comes to my neighborhood, gets delivered to my neighborhood, and that connects you with a whole bunch more people who, who are going to be like-hearted and like-minded. But in terms of the PMA, many people are learning about the law, natural law, the difference between, contract law and natural law, and diving into creating their own private members associations, where the freedom, the liberty to live life as it was naturally intended is protected by law. So there are people doing health specific private members associations. There are organizations starting learning centers, schools not attached to any specific district, of which I'm also a part. Aspire Academy.
Is that a PMA?
It is, yeah. It's a PEA, so it's a private education association.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Is it totally outside the system, or like when you say there's natural law,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to like the law that has been made by humans,
mm-hmm.
What really is the difference? Are you really like rejecting the law, or are you working with the law to create some kind of like
mm-hmm.
exception to it?
Yeah, I mean, PMAs have existed for centuries and have been, successful for a small percentage of the societies. So now it's more coming to light that anyone can use this way of doing things.
Yeah, because from what I understand, the PMA in regard to the US law is that if you're a member of a PMA and do activities within the PMA framework,
mm-hmm.
then you just respond to the law of that PMA, which is private
mm-hmm.
law, right?
Yeah, you're separating yourself from the public. And I'm not an expert by any means, but
does that mean that you don't have to follow the public law, general law? If there is a conflict between the law you put in place in your PMA mm-hmm. and the public law, you have to follow the PMA law.
Yeah, as a member of a PMA, you sign an agreement, so it's a private contract rather than a public one. And I think as long as you're not doing anything to hurt anybody, or there's a specific word that they use and I forgot about it, something about you're not doing anything evil or hurting anyone, then you stay protected in the private. But it's about taking personal responsibility for your actions, and your integrity. It's being in honor with the people that you do business with and have relationship with. Mm-hmm. So I think it's definitely one of the ways that we can reclaim our sovereignty and start practicing it and seeing it in action in community.
Because you feel like we're losing sovereignty, like individual sovereignty?
No one can lose their sovereignty. They always have it. It's just the perception they may have that, or the willingness that we have to give it away, right? So often we're raised. I mean, that's just a huge thing to delve into, but raised to programmed to follow the rules and to give away our authority, to listen to others over ourselves, and not to go inside for the answers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole another kettle of fish.
Yeah, so you're on the path with the community of building this kind of space for people to reconnect to that individual sovereignty, autonomy, and responsibility that it involves.
Right.
It's a big project.
It is, and it starts right here, right?
Yeah, it starts right here, and it's going to unfold over the time, and it's going to be amazing to see what can raise out of that.
Yeah, it does take some bravery and some courage and the willingness to step out of the ordinary and into the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a good swimmer, so let's go.
You're a good swimmer. You were talking about Aspire, which is it's a school, but you don't call it really a school.
No, we call it a learning center because just like language has been co-opted and used against us. We're not a school because we don't. We want to encourage the young people to learn for themselves and to think for themselves, and we don't teach, we guide. And that's the most beautiful thing, to see these young people figuring things out for themselves and doing their own research and getting curious and passionate about their own skills and talents, learning skills for life.
What kind of skills do you teach them?
We've had many people visit too, so we're always open to master crafts people to come in. But we have Socratic discussion where they learn how to delve into different difficult issues. We've had a power tool Mike, I think, come in and teach them how to use power tools. We've had master clinical herbalist Susan Evans come in to teach the kids. We're on 12 acres, 12 beautiful acres, so it teaches them how to identify plants and which ones are edible and which ones are good for medicine, all the things our ancestors knew, right? We've had a lady who's amazing, and she has a biofeedback machine. She comes and hooks the plants up to this biofeedback machine, and the plants play music.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the Amber's mom, and her name escapes me, but if you want to get connected, reach out. Just the frequency of the plants that can heal us. Just amazing that we're so ignorant of all these things, and so many more mysteries are being revealed to us, and we're letting the kids know, so they'll be freer and more fully self-expressed. Just something I learned about today, and I think that's what makes you a wonderful guide when you're curious about learning. I learned about the primary water source. Like, you're taught in school that there's, a system of how the weather works.
The water cycle?
The water cycle, yeah. And then, but when the things, it's not the things that we're taught, it's the things that are removed and left out of what we're taught that keep us in this box. And thunder is speaking to us.
It's talking about water, so
yes,
it's
yes.
gonna bring us some water.
Bring us some water, and so there's a primary water source, an unlimited supply of water that the earth creates naturally under the mantle, and it's there for us and for the planet, and it's I think when we're good stewards when we take care of our Pachamama, then she takes care of us. And so this information is coming from those who would do that, who would take care of the earth, and so it's being revealed so that we can be abundant, we can be in the flow and in harmony with nature.
Where is this water coming from?
It's coming from deep under the earth.
It's like underground water?
It's not just the aquifers, it's deeper than that, and apparently there's more water there that's created than the whole of the oceans on the surface.
Would it be like with a chemical reaction with the geology?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, I can send you the link that I watched. And it's a partnership with people who are dowsers, who can find where surface is, and the depth too that you can go down to find it, but it's there, and it feels like a metaphor for what we're going through. It's all under the surface, right? Everything that we need to know is bubbling up, and directly, our success is directly related to how far we can lean into that uncomfortability, as a friend of mine once said the other day, coining his own words. How uncomfortable we can get to truly see, work with the shadow, and go get to a place where we're unmovable, we're unmessable with, and we're not hookable by fear, and we're coming from a place of love.
Yeah, there is so much fear in the world that it's hard to get away from it, but love plays a big role to heal from that fear.
Yeah, love, gratitude, that wisdom of the inner knowing, all those things.
Yeah. Going back to the education, you mentioned to me once that I thought it was a really interesting way of learning and being curious about something. You had a theme. I think the theme was Leonardo da Vinci. And then you had the kids work around it on every aspects of like the teaching in school, like mathematics, and like learning about the math and learning about history, learning about how they were living at the time and so on. Like how can you tell me a little more about how do you teach around the theme like that?
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of an independent learning center, is that you can do things differently, and failure is also a part of learning, and so letting the kids fail, take their own path, it plays a big role. And with the Leonardo da Vinci, we looked at all the different resources. We made food from his time. We looked at his drawings, his architectural drawings, and the design of all the amazing things that he patented and created. And you could practice replicating them in real life. You can look at so many aspects of someone who is so inspirational to so many people, and then find the people that inspire you, and see. It's all about, to me, it's all about inspiration. It's finding that fire within yourself and what it is you came here to do. So using those people as inspiration rather than I got to do something that they did, but just to have fun with it. And
yeah, the fun is a big part of your teaching, right?
Yeah, it's that spark that's created with that love for learning that can serve you your whole life. Because if you're in a place where you think you know everything, and I think that's what we're taught, that once you get a certain level of learning, you become the expert, right? And to a certain degree, you know, you may have a lot of information, but there's so much more to learning than what's on paper. And going inside and finding that that intuition, finding that spark of wisdom, that all we really need to know comes from within, is a great inspiration. And then kids feel whole, right? Kids feel like there's nothing lacking, and that's also another freedom that we have and we can gift to kids, to know that they're not lacking and they have everything they need to be successful in the world.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it makes me think how you bring them all these resources and you guide them, and it's I don't know, it just connects me to, if we go back into a child's life, at the beginning of his life, the birth is like an important moment. And I remember you telling me about giving birth at home is like bringing like a back into like the natural way of bringing life. And the Toltec way of, it's creation and destruction. There's the balance. There's always the balance, and bringing life is one of those unique gifts that human beings have, and it's one of those journeys I've been blessed to have 4 times, and I love being a mother, and it's a challenge, and it's hard to look at yourself from the outside with that one. I don't feel qualified, because I think that's something my children would tell you more about, but I truly love, I loved having that responsibility and being a conduit for more love in the world. I guess that's what I would say. Yeah, that's awesome. And you are also a poet. You wrote some beautiful, inspiring poetry that's also carrying a sort of healing to it, in the theme you choose and how you express it in your poetry. I think you brought one of your poems.
Yeah, I birthed just one I made earlier.
Your poetry. You would like to read one of your poetry, or tell me about what is poetry to you? And
thank you.
Gives you?
That's a lovely way to describe it. That the words have healing for people, and I've always written poetry since I was very young. I never really thought about sharing it until recently, and realized that it's not me per se that's writing it. It's a channel flowing through me, and it's messages for more than just me. I'd be delighted to share, and thank you for asking.
Thank you for sharing.
This one's called I Am Here. I am here for the great reunification, to bear witness to the soul's recognition of its sublime divine origins, for the magic, magnetic recalibration of humanity. I am here to face the fear and make friends with it, to free dive into the depths of the abyss until that which once terrified becomes nullified, to cast off heavy burdens and joyfully jettison into light. I am here to hear the tales of the untold and speak the lost wisdom of generations, to whisper words of welcome to those who would join us, to revel in the unraveling of one and the building of another, to bask in the glorious glow of awakening consciousness. I am here in recognition of our journeys of joy and pain, to boldly reclaim the parts denied through shame, I am here to smell the sweet scent of victory of the people that wafts through the windows like irresistible baked goods. I am here for those who wake to smell the coffee and to offer the cinnamon bun to go with it. I am here to taste the juicy fruits of my labours, the sensual succulence of spiritual surrender. I am here to sense the coming into balance, the harmony and peace of wholeness, to guide youth in hidden truth, to listen to my heart, to use my voice, to truly feel and learn to heal.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very powerful poetry, and it's beauty, like words bringing the beauty and expressing your message, and it's amazing that you were able to put the words together and come up with a beautiful poetry.
Thank you.
One of the things with Ma puce à l'oreille that I would like to do is I would like to jump from inspiring people to inspiring people. And I would like to ask you if you had like 1 to 3 people that inspire you that you think I could just like connect with.
Oh my gosh,
so many.
So many. Yeah, so many. One is my Toltec teacher, Dominique, for sure. Let me sense into that. So many people. I see my friend David, who's doing the sovereign computing work. Oh my gosh. Oh, I should have thought of this ahead of time.
It's okay. If you already do, it's good. But if you think of a third one, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so blessed to know so many amazing souls who are doing such good work in the world. I have a friend, her name is Laurel Erica too. She's a real word wizard, and she's, I think, building like a new dictionary for the people. She's having the people build the dictionary. So we're reworking the language. She did a little video called Secret Spells of the English Language. And she's been really helpful and supportive with my work. So I would highly recommend connecting with her also.
Very good. Thank you for this connections again. And before we just wrap up, would you like to tell a word about where we're standing right now?
So these are the sandstone, the red sandstone rocks in the Red Rock area of Colorado. It kind of reminds me of Uluru in Australia, where the original Australians class as sacred. It's a very special spot to me. I come here often to meditate and do small ceremony. It has water here, and yeah, it's just a real peaceful place and a place to be with myself and let the inspiration flow.
Well, you got inspired today.
And I want to thank you, Sophie, for what you're doing online and in real life. The willingness that you have to dive deep into your psyche and be the best Sophie that there is in the world for you, and the amazing friendship. I'm so grateful that you're in my life.
Me too.
Yeah, you're beautiful, and you're gentle, and you're creative, and you're a go-getter, and I love your energy. And
that's so nice.
Yes.
Thank you, Nichola.
You're welcome.
Oh, so nice. I enjoy having this conversation with you. My first opening of the podcast show.
I'm so honored. May there
and
be
it was
many
so
more.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with me. And
au revoir.
See you.
Blessings and love to everyone.
Bye-bye.